There is such thing as a paperback test, and it's in the form of people arguing whether you're light skinned or not. Let's talk about it. Hello, Exotical Barbies. One thing I noticed, especially online and me being on TikTok and YouTube, is how when a light skinned woman says that she's light skinned, she's often compared or doubled down that she's not. Meaning, they often be like, for example, you're not light skinned. My cousin that I know is lighter than you. First of all, I had to bring your cousin to this. And second of all, just because there's different shades of light skin, I feel like many people, especially in a black what's that called, spaces, do not know. I know it's very definitely for his Hispanics, but because I only spent a little time in that community, I can't really speak on it, but I will speak on it because I did witness something as well with that. And I noticed how they will fight you tooth and nail, and sometimes even go as far as fights, because people fighting whether you're light skinned or not. And I also noticed that they don't really do it for brown skin or for dark skin. Like they'd be like, "Oh, you're not light skin, you're a brown." Or you're not light skin, you're dark skin. Like what you talking about? What are you talking about? Well, if you would say, "Oh, I'm a brown skin," they're not gonna say anything. And I was trying to think about why it's that. I realized it's because they put colorism on our hierarchy. So remember how I talked about earlier in my videos about how they they don't want you to know as a pretty exotical that you are an exotical Barbie. So instead they try to be like, well, all black people look like that, when in reality that's not true. Or, oh, all of us black people have 3C hair, when they know it's not true. You know what I'm talking about? So the way they double down on this is that they try to humble you by saying you're not. And even go as far as they even study your skin. For example, they'd be like, "Oh, you look like you're tan. You're part of us now. You're part of us now." And meanwhile, you're just sitting here relaxing on your beautiful day. And you're like, "Okay, what are you talking about?" Or if it's in the wintertime, you happen to pale, they'd be like, seem like you getting a little lighter. Don't think you're cute. Ma'am, I am drinking my mocha latte. What are you talking about, ma'am? You see what I'm talking about? And with that being said, I'm so sorry if you hear some cracking. Sorry. Um, and with that being said, another thing I noticed is that how they when you do identify as you being light skinned, all of a sudden they also think that you are uppity, that you think highly than you do to them. They think it's that they think that you have a you see them as a stepping stool close to whiteness, if that makes sense. But in reality, you don't even think that at all. But because of inferiority complex, they think that. For example, I remember one time I was at my work, and this is with this Latina, and she is light skinned. Me and this me three of us. One guy, he's mixed, I'm mixed, and she's Latina, sorry, and we all happen to be light skinned. And I remember how when he sometimes make jokes and whatnot, it's mostly him because he's mostly making jokes. I remember she's like, "Oh, you with that light skin stuff, you with that light skin stuff." And remember how I talk about light skin guilt, how they try to use the projection that happened to them onto other light skins. I noticed that she kept doing that. She's like, "Oh, you think you're cute because you're light skinned," or, "Oh, you always acting like a light skin." And now it could be because we're all light skins that she's making that joke or whatever. But I realized the tone that she used it in. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how you joke, you be like, "Oh, look at you messing up again." That type of joke. I realized she's low key taking it seriously. Like I kind of seen her face getting angry, or sometimes she's like, you know what I'm saying? But I may be wrong. I may be wrong. Am I wrong? I'm wrong. But that's how I kind of read it, because I know when sometimes when as light skins, when we by ourselves one night, we kind of make that joke where it's like, oh, you acting like a light skin, or we see that other side coming out, because it's just with us. But it's different on what the tone and the physical emotions I kind of sense with that, but I may be wrong. Another thing as well, especially with in my case with unambiguous monoracially black people, is that they think, like, for example, you'd be like, oh yeah, well, I'm light skinned. Oh, you think you're cute now, or you think you're better? Don't think you're all that. You ain't all that. Matter of fact, you're not even light skinned anymore. Look at you, look just like me. Or you're deep caramel. And they don't even realize that light skin is different shades, just like brown, just like dark skin. You know what I'm saying? Like, and because they hold up a paper bag rule in their head of what you're supposed to look like, or they compare you to another light skinned individual, they use that as a paper tag test. They use sometimes other light skins as a paper tag test. So, for example, they probably be like, oh, Beyonce ain't light skin. She ain't light as Mariah Carey. And you're sitting there like you know what I'm saying? So I realize they sometimes do that as well, where they try to compare you to someone they know as a paper bag test and not using the paper bag as itself. And with that being said, I noticed the antagonizing and the hate towards that. For example, if you guys don't know, on the show A Different World, Whitley's character, the lady that plays Whitley, she received so much hate. I remember she talked about how she received hate letters, how she received death threats because she wasn't acting quote quote black and whatnot. I remember it got to the point she even said herself how she went to the people, that checks the statistics of the show, whether they like it or not, wherever. I remember she said that how she was trying to make sure that she, fit in with the black, did she quote unquote look good to black people, so she because she was suffered that much. I'm here to say for this, as light skins, don't listen to these people. You know who you are, okay? You don't need a whole paper bag test. Okay, and I think Exotical United even talked about how, what color, because her and her subscribers, because she has a large platform, talked about which, I think it's a Fenty color, makeup color, I forgot, sorry. You could go over to her page and find that out, I forgot. But anyways, yeah, you know who you are. And the thing is, you can tan, and you could also, like, because guess what? When you're light skinned, that does happen a lot. In the summertime, you darken and whatnot, especially if you don't use sunscreen. And then in the wintertime, you often, like, get pale or whatever, you know? And yeah. So, with that being said, don't listen to these people. Don't pay them the dust of money. We don't put color. You already know, you as a Exotical Barbie, you don't put colorism on a hierarchy. So don't even pay them no dust as to what they say that you feel that they think that you're white, whatever. Okay. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me how you feel. Do you relate? Have you seen it? You know? Okay. In my head, I'm making a beat, but it sounds a little weird now. I'm singing it out loud. Anyways, bye, Settles.